Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. It's September 3rd, 2014, and let's get straight into our news tonight. Our top story, instead of monitoring ISIS, Obama spied on Americans. And that very much is the case with the NSA data mining centers. But the thing about these issues is that even though President Obama will come out and address the nation and tell everybody about NSA data mining, people still think it's a conspiracy theory that the government is spying on you. Even though we've talked to whistleblowers like Wayne Madsen, we've heard the revelations from people like Edward Snowden, saying that the guys at the NSA are so busy looking at your naked selfies and reading your sextings, they don't have much time to do anything else, anything of relevance. So now we have top pundits coming out. Judge Napolitano, he comes out on Fox News, on Fox and Friends, and he does not mince words when he talks about this very important issue.
I think that the president, and this is just my opinion, is more concerned with wanting to know what Americans are doing rather than dispatching our intelligence agencies to find out what people who really can cause us harm are doing. And that doesn't keep us safe, it just keeps us less free.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I also want to point out something in the article. The tweet from Fox and Friends. It says President Obama received detailed and specific intelligence about the rise of ISIS in his daily briefings for at least a year. Because you always hear about the plausible deniability. Oh, I didn't know, or I have a big government, or I have all these moving parts. And yes, he does. That's one of the reasons why he may consider downsizing this government. It seems like he has more people that he can take care of. Now, but something that is being taken care of to an extent is finding out who is releasing these ISIS terrorism activity videos. Sought video found by group responsible for releasing fake Osama bin Laden video. The video was first obtained by Site Intelligence Group, also known as Site Intel Group, a relatively under-the-radar yet apparently very powerful nonprofit research body that monitors jihadist movements, reports USA Today. One of Site's founders, Rita Katz, is a government insider with close connections to former terrorism czar Richard Clarke and his staff in the White House. In 2007, Katz and Site allegedly discovered and sent the Bush administration an unreleased Osama bin Laden video. Previous Osama bin Laden videos were released and exploited for their propaganda value by Intel Center, a private contractor working for the intelligence agencies based in Virginia. So, you guys hear about all these Osama bin Laden videos, and I'll say that some of these things were very suspicious and looked very theatrical. And what I mean by that is you see a video and they say it's Osama bin Laden, but you've seen a previous video of a guy who is, very tall, Middle Eastern gentleman, has a gray beard, and then you see this video of somebody who's like 10, 15 years younger, must have been using just for men because he doesn't have any gray in his beard. But the whole thing stems from the more recent video about the beheading from ISIS, one of the more recent beheadings. Because you guys remember is last week, the week before, we saw the beheading or the alleged beheading of James Foley. I have not seen the video. It's the same thing with this most recent thing. I haven't had a chance to see the full thing. Some people say they've seen it, other people saying it's fake from the jump. I don't know. I can't really comment on something I haven't seen. But as far as Sotloff, they've been caught in dealings with the Bush administration, pushing some things that were not exactly accurate to the official narrative. But something that is accurate, a straight shooter, General McInerney, we helped build ISIS.
Some of those weapons from Benghazi ended up in the hands of ISIS. So we helped build ISIS.
But people just can't seem to understand how we're funding and creating our own enemies here in the United States of America. Now, understand, I'm not saying every threat, everybody we face is somebody that we created, but we've seen Mrs. Clinton talk about the Mujahideen, say we created these guys for a particular task, and then when we didn't know what else to do with them, they just became our enemies. We've seen the hashtag I Didn't Join campaign, when soldiers said, hey, I'm not going to be part of a military that funds the al-Qaeda rebels on Monday, fights them on Tuesday, and then becomes their air force on Wednesday to go out and fight Assad. And I'm not saying Assad's a good guy, but the guys in the military had enough foresight to realize they were being used as pawns in this larger scheme. So good luck to them. But this is something that you definitely need to understand. And if you ever see Obama or anybody who's in charge of these operations, say, why do you have us funding and then fighting our own enemies? And now with the most important geopolitical news of the day, we have this. U.S. and allies stage exercises in West Ukraine as battles rage in the east. Alex Jones has more.
Geopolitically, internationally today, the top story is this. Reuters, U.S. allies to stage exercises in West Ukraine as battles rage in the east. This is exactly what all the experts have said would start to happen. It's what I've said. 6 months ago, the Ukrainians vote to not join the EU and be sucked dry by that tyranny. Soros activates neo-Nazi paramilitary groups that overthrow the government, the elected government, which certainly wasn't perfect. I'm not saying that, but it was elected. No one disputed it was freely elected. They overthrow it, run all the way into the Russian pipelines, refineries, and oil fields that have been owned, leased, and run by Russia for 100 years. Russia's been there for 500, basically. And they try to take the Russian port, their only Black Sea port and other strategic areas. Russia sends in forces to protect them for their interest. The issue is the West initiated this, just like they initiated ISIS, which is really al-Qaeda in Iraq, that went into Syria. Just like our government backs the Muslim Brotherhood. Just like they backed the jihadis taking down Gaddafi. Just like they're backing trying to... Al-Qaeda's been attacking Jordan. And Soros came out and admitted responsibility in the New York Times for the coup and mass murder in Ukraine. And so as things escalate, notice you heard yesterday, NATO's going to send a rapid reaction force in the next few months in case Russia invades. NATO is already in Ukraine, already in Poland, already has advisors. It's come out. There's already mercenaries. A lot of people that don't want war with Russia are trying to de-escalate it, saying, oh, Russia doesn't really have troops in eastern Ukraine. Yes, they do. And there's battles going on, a proxy war directly with Russia right now. It's not like we're having a proxy war with Russia through Vietnam or a proxy war with Russia in Angola or Rhodesia. The United States of America and NATO is now in a proxy war directly with mercenaries and CIA advisors with Russian troops. There's a steady stream of body bags going back to Russia of Russian troops and funerals all over the country. I've gone and checked. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are dead mercs and others coming back here.
And with our final story of the evening before we head to our special reports, 15-year-old gang member shot by victim during attempted robbery for the second time in a month. That's right, for the second time in a month. According to a local ABC affiliate, a group of employees were leaving a local tavern around 5:30 a.m. when they were approached by several teens attempting to rob them. However, one of the would-be victims produced a handgun and opened fire, striking one of the suspects and sending the others fleeing. The injured suspect, who police describe as a known gang member, died as a result of the gunshot wound. And while it's very difficult to hear anybody losing their life in such a tragic circumstance, especially somebody that young, I definitely respect this guy's Second Amendment right to defend himself and his group of friends there. And if everything happened the way it was outlined in this report, then I think he did the right thing. So that's it for this segment of the InfoWars Nightly News, but stay tuned because after this break we'll have a special report from John Bound. He's going to be detailing how a potential Fukushima situation could happen here in the U.S. if earthquakes continue on the United States West Coast. And then Joe Biggs will expose how wide open borders could aid the ISIS invasion of the United States of America. This is information you do not want to miss. This is the InfoWars Nightly News.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
You've experienced and heard about the benefits of Super Male Vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
On the 26th of April, 1986, the worst nuclear power plant disaster in history occurred at the Chernobyl plant in the Ukraine. Chernobyl was labeled as a level 7, the maximum classification on the International Nuclear Event Scale.
At the core of the blown-out reactor, and buried under 14 meters of rubble, the graphite surrounding the nuclear fuel burns and melts the uranium. The radioactive fallout is going to be 100 times greater than the combined power of the 2 atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Years later, on the 11th of March, 2011, the Fukushima meltdown reawakened public awareness regarding the ever-present dangers of nuclear power.
So we're about 270, 276. So we're maxing out around 280 or so. And remember, 30 is what's normal for this location. Now they're disputing that this isn't the cesium-137. They're saying this is radium and other things that naturally occur in the environment. Whatever it is abnormally high.
With the recent earthquake activity stirring in the Ring of Fire, the Diablo Canyon power plant located near Avila Beach in San Luis Obispo, resting near not 1 but 4 fault lines, is a clear and present danger. The second fault, known as the Hosgri Fault, was only discovered after the plant's completion. In November of 1927, the Hosgri Fault generated a 7.1 magnitude earthquake 10 miles offshore. A 2013 document filed by former Nuclear Regulatory Commission Inspector Michael Peck insisted on closing down Diablo until the commission determined whether the plant's equipment could survive higher seismic stress levels. In 1981, Diablo was incorrectly retrofitted when employees failed to reverse the plans for the twin reactors. Regardless, the Nuclear Regulation Commission approved the safety of Diablo's monstrosity of incompetence. Diablo has a seismic monitoring and safety system ready to shut it down immediately in the event of significant ground motion.
The motion is detected by sensors in the ground and provides 3-dimensional data on seismic conditions.
But that won't stop the potential damage unleashed by the fuel rods as witnessed during the Fukushima debacle. Of course, Pacific Gas and Electric would like you to believe this ticking time bomb is good for jobs, energy consumption of its 2 million recipients, and the way forward as old man coal is aggressively shut down.
So if somebody wants to build a coal-powered plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them because they're going to be charged a huge sum for all that greenhouse gas that's being emitted.
But the voices opposed are many. After President Richard Nixon called for construction of 1,000 nuclear plants by the year 2000, 1,900 anti-nuclear movement protesters were arrested in 1981 during a 10-day civil disobedience blockade of the Diablo Canyon power plant.
With the main gate cleared and the last blockader in jail, Pacific Gas and Electric made final preparations to start the reactor. But then, at the last moment, PG&E publicly admitted a grave mistake. There are 2 reactors at Diablo, mirror images of each other. The blueprints for Units 1 and 2 had gotten mixed up, and the earthquake supports for the cooling pipes, the same cooling system designed to prevent a meltdown, had been installed backwards. It was the first